Skinny talk moms should probably think this one through. Hey everyone, I'm Abby Sharp. Welcome back to Abby's Kitchen. So I've recently posted a video about my thoughts on the origins of skinny talk and just why we got here so fast, as well as another video reviewing some of the top skinny talk tips. But today I want to zone in a bit on one of the unforeseen victims of skinny talk, our children. Now, very quickly, I would love if you would hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. And also check out my new podcast, Bite Back with Abby Sharp, if you are looking for more in-depth discussions on key nutrition topics. I actually have a fantastic episode that draws on some similar themes that I will be talking about today that is currently my #1 episode on the pod. So I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below. Also, a quick note that we will, of course, be discussing disordered eating. So please feel free to skip this if it's not supportive to your journey. I'm so excited about my sponsor today. So let's talk about Nourish. As a dietitian, you know I am all about getting one-on-one RD support over following advice from random influencers online. But I get so many messages from a lot of you that you've struggled to find an RD that will accept your unique insurance plan, which is why I really recommend Nourish. A lot of people don't know this, but there is a difference between a registered dietitian and a nutritionist, in that RDs are regulated professionals that are held to high standards for education and evidence-based care. Nourish is really the easiest way to find an actual registered dietitian and get it covered by your insurance. They accept hundreds of insurance plans in all 50 US states, with 94% of their patients paying $0 out of pocket. They also have RDs who specialize in a variety of health concerns, from weight management to eating disorders to IBS, diabetes, prenatal, and so much more. The dietitians here don't just give you like a one-size-fits-all program. They provide personalized nutrition therapy through flexible online care, so it is convenient and effective for long-term behavior changes. Plus, Nourish has a great app where you can discuss strategies with your dietitian, track your symptoms, and easily manage your appointments. I honestly cannot recommend this enough. So if you're looking to get one-on-one RD support and to have it covered effortlessly by your insurance plan, all you need to do is go to usenourish.com/AbbysKitchen to find a great RD fit for you. All right, folks, let's dive in. If you have seen any skinny talk content, one thing you may notice pretty quickly is that this is not just a trend amongst like Gen Zs and young adults. The moms of TikToks are flourishing on skinny talk, and absolutely for good reason. The rise of skinny talk, aka the online communities where women bond over weight loss tips and an overt desire for thinness, is deeply tied to both cultural conditioning and patriarchal systems that continue to shape how women are expected to exist. And this is particularly obvious when you become a mom. For most women, early motherhood coexists with a monumental shift in our identity. We go from having free time and full autonomy over what we want to do to a societal expectation of self-sacrifice and denial. Like, if your nipples aren't bleeding and you're getting more than like 4 hours of sleep, are you even mothering?
I'm here mothering, it's giving mother.
So we go from doing what we want when we want and nobody really thinking we shouldn't, to feeling like the world is constantly judging us as a bad parent if we go back to work, if we stop breastfeeding, or even if we take like a 20-minute shower alone. So the skinny talk tenets of discipline, deprivation, and self-surveillance is already kind of built into our shared language as moms. Many women may even feel a sense of like righteousness or pride by leaning in because, vocally denying ourselves of our needs often serves as evidence to the world that we are good wives, moms, and women. Moms are also experiencing a dramatic change in their body, along with a social pressure to never age or gain weight. So obviously it is very, very easy for a mom to be on TikTok searching, post-baby weight loss and to be led down the algorithm to skinny talk pretty damn quick. Another reason why skinny talk is so appealing to moms is because it serves as an antidote to our seemingly severed social connection. Research suggests that almost half of pregnant women and mothers struggle with loneliness. And this is even more significant for minority moms and moms whose kids have a disability. Isolated, overwhelmed, and longing for connection and control, moms may look to nniTok for what they need the most, which is a social community through a common, relatable female desire to be thin. It's kind of like the new Facebook mom group, but fewer nasty rash pics and more low-cal snacks. But let's take a beat here to talk about one of the most popular influencers in this space right now, Mina, who's kind of like the mom queen of nniTok. Mina is all about empowering moms to take time for themselves by going on long walks and getting the snatched body of their dreams. She's also a lot more relatable to millennial moms like myself than younger creators like Liv Schmidt, because we see her weight loss tips kind of like interjected by footage of like packing lunches and her kids interrupting her fit checks and daily chores, etc. Like, we all feel seen. I feel seen. So in some ways, Mina rewrites the typical mom trope of being disheveled and, all sacrificing for your kids to one where you're investing in a better you. It is so nice to be told to do something for yourself when the rest of society is telling you to give yourself up. So I love that. That said, beneath these empowering messages, there still is the classic diet culture messaging of thinner is best and eating less shows your moral goodness and fat folks are lazy and unmotivated, etc. Stuff like this. Now, I just want to make it absolutely clear here, I am not against weight loss, regardless of the why, whether it's for like managing your diabetes or just feeling more confident in a swimsuit. It is hard to be a fat person living in a world that isn't accepting of you. And that is a struggle that I fully acknowledge. And I also know that different people feel encouraged or motivated by different techniques, including some of the more militant strategies that nniTok promotes. But when the bottom line goal of encouraging women to prioritize themselves is not actually a form of identity preservation or self-care, but rather to change your body at any or all costs, including your mental health and sense of self-worth, it actually may serve to reinforce the patriarchal systems that kind of force us into self-servitude in the first place. It's not empowering, it's not accepting, and it's definitely not kind. And in a lot of ways, it may actually rob us of our autonomy to truly put ourselves first. It also doesn't actually work well for weight loss according to the research that we have on how to encourage long-term weight loss behaviors. Plus, there may be other physical and psychological consequences that I unpacked in my earlier video. But there is an indirect consequence that I don't see a lot of people talking about. And that is the impact of nniTok on our kids. We already know that kids themselves should not be dieting. So research clearly shows that kids who are put on diets are more likely to become overweight or obese as adults and are more likely to suffer lower self-esteem, body dysfaction, and even depression. But even if we're not explicitly doing this is you. Our own weight management behaviors can have negative consequences on our kids. So research confirms that when kids see their parents diet or when they see their moms place a lot of credence in thinness, they are significantly more likely to experience negative body image, poor self-esteem, disordered eating, and become chronic dieters themselves. They're also more likely to become obese down the road because living in an environment of restrictive messaging and modeling simply increases kids' preoccupation with food. So even when the kids are being served the kind of non-diet meal by their nniTok moms, they are still picking up on the choices that you make for yourself. They are listening to you criticize your body and the body of others. They're watching you take a few licks of their ice cream and then announce that you were really bad this week. Even if we think we're being covert about it, monkeys see, monkey do. And I want to make it absolutely clear that just being on a weight loss journey doesn't automatically give your kids an ED. I think that parents can absolutely pursue weight loss while protecting their kids' body image and relationship with food. And a full how-to on best practices for that would need to be a whole other video, so if you're interested, please let me know. But what I will say is that nniTok is not it.
Oh, baby, no. No, baby, no.
The no pain, no gain messaging, the glorification of hunger and undereating, and the hyper-focus on thinness over health is an unquestionably dangerous mentality for our kids to absorb. And I think even those who feel they're personally benefiting from Skinny Talk content can probably appreciate that it's not good for kids. Now, I want to reiterate here that I am not mom shaming Skinny Talk moms, including Mina. We all have to balance competing priorities and risk factors, and we also don't have a crystal ball to know how these choices are going to affect us or our kids long term. But if you are a mom who's enjoying Skinny Talk content, maybe just see what I'm sharing here solely as another perspective that you can take or leave totally judgment-free. I know we are all just doing the best job that we possibly can, but I want to pose a little question as food for thought. As I outlined in my video on Skinny Talk's origins, I do believe that one of the reasons why this movement took off was that people were kind of sick of feeling gaslit watching like influencers and models exaggerating their food freedom by saying they eat everything when perhaps they barely eat anything at all. At least that's the theory. So on more than one occasion, I have asked my followers, what is worse or more problematic? Thin celebrities and influencers telling people the truthful but potentially dangerous steps on how they got skinny, or those thin influencers promoting eating, a lot more calories, even if it's a total farce. And I usually find that my comment section predominantly will prefer the former. They would take the dangerous skinny hacks because at least they know the truth, that they appreciate people not gaslighting them into thinking that you can eat pizza all day and still have washboard abs. And this makes total sense to me because we live in a society that values thinness, and so much of the what I eat in a day content out there is internalized as a how-to to get the body of the creator. Now, honesty is such a core value of mine personally. So I agree, I hate the social media lies. But when I ask that same question to myself, I have always concluded that I would rather see the lie. And maybe I can take that positioning because A, I don't personally desire weight loss, so I don't really care for the honest tips or hacks. B, I may be better to reject the kind of covert message that if I just eat like this model, then I can look like her. So maybe I'm just not affected by the lying. And C, I am always thinking about how these messages affect kids. I can't tell you how many DMs I get from 10 or 11-year-old kids saying that they're only eating 800 calories because that's what they saw online. And as a parent myself, I feel so much responsibility to be vocal about why that advice is so wrong. So for those of you who are parents, I want to reframe the question and kind of see maybe how your answer differs, if it does. If you had a young preteen daughter who had no medical reason to lose weight, but of course was affected by diet culture all around her, would you rather her see her favorite thin influencer do a what I eat in a day where she ate like 2,500 calories of fruit and whole grains and protein and some fun foods like candy, fries, or pizza? Or would you rather her be watching Liv Schmidt tell her to eat 3 bites and then screaming at her that she's a fat pig? I guess I'm just curious if you feel like that lie may feel kind of more like a tactful untruth when it's delivered directly to a vulnerable person that you want to protect. And you actually don't have to be a parent to use this litmus test. I often use it to determine whether or not content I see online is problematic or toxic, because if it feels toxic or harmful to somebody that I care about and love, why would it be acceptable for me? Do I not love and care about myself enough to kind of put some boundaries and safeguards in place that will reduce the risk of mental or physical harm? Now, obviously, this is not a perfect test by any means, and there's lots of opportunities for false negatives, especially for folks who are kind of steeped or engrossed in diet or wellness culture, where perhaps you truly do see some of these messages as helpful for you or your kids. But thinking of ourselves as someone that we care about too can really help us make choices from a place of self-care rather than a place of self-loathing. Now, I'm sure a lot of folks in the community will say, well, Skinny Talk is not for kids, and if it offends you or triggers you, then don't watch it. And Skinny Talk moms might be thinking, well, I'm an adult, I can handle the tough love approach, even if I wouldn't feel okay exposing my kids. Just remember, as we talked about earlier, your 8-year-old daughter doesn't have to be explicitly following Liv Schmidt's TikTok to be influenced, because she's influenced directly by you. And like I said, they will absolutely pick up on the body checks and the restrictive eating patterns and the negative self-talk. Not to mention, we also have to remember that we're kind of in control of the media in a lot of ways. And your engagement with this online content, which just increases its reach to young people, including those that you want to protect. This really goes for all the problematic trends that we see online. We make content go viral. We allow messages to spread. Our online world becomes the echo chamber that we nudge the algorithm into creating. And yeah, maybe this is just me being a concerned parent worried sick about the online world that I won't be able to fully protect my kids from. And maybe it's completely insane wishful thinking to believe that we could ever stand a chance against the powers of diet culture online. But I do just believe that if we want to spare our kids the struggles that we have had with our body and weight and food, we all kind of have to do our part. And I guess that takes us right back to the selflessness of motherhood. It is hard to shake. But speaking of motherhood, I gotta go get the boys from school, so that is all that I have time for today. A quick reminder to please be kind. I am not trying to tear anyone down or suggest that anyone is engaging in bad parenting here. I am simply trying to provide some education on the risks and benefits that really only you can compute for yourself. And if you like this video, please give it the thumbs up and leave me a comment below with what you would like to see me discuss or review next. And I will see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!